What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. So yesterday I made a video showing you guys all the fishing rods you could wish for on Christmas Day except one, and it turns out I forgot to show you guys the Fallen Snowblade for a good reason. I don't have that fishing rod because when it was released and removed, I wasn't playing fish at the time. But to get that fishing rod now, you have to get it from a developer, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's gonna happen because it's very rare I talk to an owner or developer. For the most part, I'm basically a regular player that just records what they do every single day on Roblox, so most likely I'm never gonna have 100,000 of each bait or a really rare fishing rod nobody else could get. And that's why in today's video I'm gonna be comparing every single admin rod most likely people are gonna wish for on Christmas Day. And with the help of my friend, I could test out the Fallen Snowblade. So in this test, I'm gonna be testing out the Fallen Snowblade, the Polaris Rod, the Crystallis Rod, and Nate's Blade. And the main reason why these fishing rods are wanted the most, well, there's a lot of reasons. They may want these fishing rods for money or fishing rod skins or maybe just collections. Look, I'm just saying with these fishing rods, I'm actually surprised how much money we made. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, in the past I've tried these fishing rods before, but now they're way better, and for one reason. So as you guys know, with the Thanksgiving event, they came out with brand new baits, and I'm telling you right now, there's one that sticks out the most for these fishing rods, and that bait is gonna be the cranberry cluster. And I'm telling you right now, it makes a massive difference. And that's why with the Fallen Snowblade, I did two tests to show you guys how good it is. But for the first fishing rod of the test is gonna be the Fallen Snowblade, and I'm just gonna say right now, it's a really nice fishing rod. In terms of looks, this fishing rod is very similar to the Destiny rod, but I mean, I still think the Destiny rod looks way cooler, but this fishing rod is not that far away. For the first test with the Fallen Snowblade, I did use piercing and sea prints, and also for the bait, I did use candy corn to bring down the resilience, because the resilience of this fishing rod is 15%, but with candy corn, it brings it down to minus 25%, which makes a big difference. And because we're using the piercing enchantment, it's gonna make the stabbing effect trigger even more. So that means with that combination, we should be catching fish way more per hour. But on average with the Fallen Snowblade, I made $4.88 million an hour. Oh, and also, by the way, for all my tests, I did them at the mine shaft to make it even. I think it's the best spot to make money in the game to this day. But when I saw I only made $4 million, I was like, there is no way this fishing rod is way too good. Because keep in mind, the luck on this fishing rod is 319%. It's really high. And also, you have to keep in mind, this fishing rod is really good during the winter. And I'm pretty sure for both tests, I did it during the spring, so you could definitely make way more money when the winter happens. But I think now I'm gonna show you guys how much money I made with the second test. And basically for the second test, I replaced piercing with Sea Overlord and candy corn with cranberry cluster. And I'm telling you right now, this is gonna make a massive difference for how much money you're gonna make per hour. So with all the changes I made on the Fallen Snowblade, on average, I made $6.2 million an hour. Look, I'm just saying, if you put the greed enchantment, you could definitely make way more money, especially during the winter. Because during the winter, you have a plus 75% progress speed and a 45% chance for the snowy mutation. And that snowy mutation gives you a 6 times multiplier. You get it really often. So just with those two alone, you could definitely make easily over $7.5 million an hour. But just keep in mind, to make this amount of money, you have to wait during the winter. But now for the next fishing rod on the list, going to be the Polaris Rod, and I'm telling you right now, it's still a very good fishing rod. So for the enchantments on this fishing rod, I'm going to be using Sea Overload and Sea Prince. You guys have to keep in mind, this fishing rod has no weight buff on the passive, and because of that, without Sea Overload and Sea Prince, you're going to be making way less money than I did. I'm going to be honest, this fishing rod most likely everybody's going to wish for on Christmas Day. And I'm pretty sure for the quest, you had to get a Serene String, a Serene Spectral Serpent, and you had to give Nick $50 million. But when I came back to fish, somebody traded me the Serene Spectral Serpent, and I already had the $50 million, so I got the fishing rod pretty fast. But the one thing I do remember, a lot of people did not have the $50 million, so they never got the fishing rod. But on average, with the Polaris Rod at the mine shaft, I made $7.72 million an hour. So like I said before, with this fishing rod, I use Sea Overload, Sea Prince with the cranberry cluster for the entire test. And I'm just saying right now, once again, that cranberry cluster makes a massive difference. Look, I'm just hoping everybody during the Thanksgiving event got a bunch of the bait, because if you didn't, you might have missed out. Also, keep in mind, with the greed enchantment, you could definitely make a little bit more money, because with the greed enchantment, you get a plus 50% fish size buff, a minus 30% lure speed, and a minus 5% progress speed. And that's why the cranberry cluster is so good. It gives you a plus 60% lure speed and a plus 25% progress speed boost. I'm gonna be honest, with the greed enchantment, the Polaris Rod, you could easily make over $8 million an hour, I have no doubt. I'm actually really surprised how much money we're making without the stabbing effect, because normally with the stabbing effect, it makes a massive difference. It helps you catch more fish per hour, and the more fish you catch per hour, the more money you make. But yeah, but now we're moving on to the next fishing rod on the list. For the next fishing rod on the list, gonna be the Crystallis Rod, and I'm gonna be honest, this one also surprised me. Look, I'm just saying, the last time I tried the Crystallis Rod, it didn't really make that much money. It was so bad, I told myself I would never use it ever again. But this time with the Crystallis Rod, I changed the enchantments on it. I'm gonna be using Sea sea overload or sea prince. If you guys go on the wiki for this fishy rod and scroll down, it'll tell you to use a Blessed Song enchantment or the Herculean enchantment. I'm telling you right now, don't do that. For this test, I put sea overload or sea prince. It made a massive difference. You also have to keep in mind the control bar on this fishy rod is really small. It's at a 0. So on average with the Crystallis Rod at the mine shaft, I made $7.5 million an hour. And I'm telling you right now, the passive on this fish rod makes you so much money. So in the passive, you have a 20% chance for an eye to spawn and catch an additional fish with the Flora mutation. And also an additional 20% chance to either be shiny or sparkling or both. The Flora mutation gives you a 7 times multiplier and makes you so much money. Like I'm pretty sure every time you get the Flora mutation, that radiant crystal will sell for like $150,000. And keep in mind with this fishy rod, I'm using the cranberry cluster and that also makes you a lot of money. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys with the cranberry cluster, it gives you the gravy mutation and an 8 times multiplier. And I'm pretty sure if you get the gravy mutation on the radiant crystal, it'll sell for $160,000. So it's a lot of money as well. And also keep it in mind, if you get this fishy rod and go to the mine shaft, you might struggle a little bit. So because we're not using the Herculean enchantment, our control bar is still going to be at 0. Whenever you guys catch the radiant crystal, it makes your control bar even smaller, making it harder to catch. If you guys mess up just a little bit, you're going to lose that radiant crystal pretty fast. Look, I'm just saying, even if you fail a radiant crystal, the passives on this fishy rod is so strong, you're still going to make a lot of money, easily over $7 million an hour. So in the end, this fishy rod is still a really good money maker. And now for the last fishy rod on the list, going to be the Nade Blade. And I'm telling you right now, I'm shocked looking at this, because as you guys know with the Nade Blade, it did get nerfed, but for some reason we still make a lot of money. But you never know, it might be the power of the cranberry cluster, because it could be it. Because every time you get a radiant crystal with the gravy mutation, it makes you bank, I'm not gonna lie. But on average with the Nade Blade at the mine shaft, I made $10.11 million an hour. Oh, and also before I forget, with the radiant crystals passive, it doesn't work on the Nade Blade. So whenever you're catching the radiant crystal, it'll make your control bar really small really fast, right? So because the Nade Blade's control bar gets really big over time, it pretty much ignores the effect. So catching radiant crystal with a Nade Blade is very easy. But I still think the reason why this fish rod makes a lot of money is because of the gravy mutation, because there's no way. So you could say with this fishy rod, I got very lucky, but still $10 million is kind of wild. When I first saw this number after selling everything, I was really surprised. It kind of reminds me like when you're walking in the mall and you see something and you turn around and walk backwards to see it again. That's exactly how I was when I first saw the amount of money you could make with this fishy rod. I'm not gonna lie, if you don't have the Fallen Snow Blade, the Polaris Rod, the Crystallis Rod, the Nade Blade, you were about to have the hardest choice ever for this Christmas wish. And also keep it in mind, I'm pretty sure you could get the Fabulous Rod this Christmas, so yeah. I'm actually glad I have majority of these fishy rods, because if I didn't, I wouldn't know what to pick. I mean, looking at what I got right now in terms of money, I probably would have picked the Nade Blade for my choice, because with the Nade Blade, you make so much money, catching fish is so easy. And also keep it in mind, you guys never know, in the future they might nerf the Polaris Rod. I'm actually really surprised how many people did not do the Polaris Rod quest to get that fishy rod. But yeah, but if 90% of the people pick the Polaris Rod for their wish, they might nerf it, so I don't know. But let me know down below which fishy rods you guys are gonna pick, and yeah. But that's pretty much all I got for today. But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.